Hello, 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 welcome back to Hunter Tuned. Today we're gonna be dyno tuning two different cars. One of them is Adam. He has a New Edge Mustang that Matt Happel actually helped him get the ECU and stuff lined out for. Yeah, it's gonna be a really cool New Edge Mustang with a 7875. He got injectors from me and stuff like that. And then the other one is Blazer Builds. Blazer Builds. His Ranger, he's been working on for quite some time. He kind of did a similar setup that I have in Black Betty Mustang, where it is a Summit Pro LS rod and piston combination with a set of twin VsRacing mirror image turbos. So we're gonna see what that thing can do today too. So I got the shop opened up here in the front for the dyno, and might sweep some of the leaves out of here quick and wait for them to show up. So should be a fun day. All right guys, so Adam just showed up with his New Edge Mustang. It's got a 6-liter VsRacing 7875, and yeah, we're gonna get this thing on the dyno and see what kind of power we can make with it. It is on a Holley Dominator setup, and he brought his computer and stuff with. I've never actually tuned with a Dominator before, so this will be a little bit of a learning curve. There's not really a whole lot of difference between Terminator and Dominator on the software itself. There's just more features that you can kind of access. Like, I thought it was cool with, like, you can adjust the air fuel based on temperature, the target air fuel. I thought that was cool. Stuff like that. And we can run a 4-port boost solenoid and just run duty cycle for the boost controller, just like we would on a Honda or whatever on the Honda stuff. So this thing should be pretty fun. We're gonna see what kind of power we can make. It does have the Sloppy Mechanics Best Cam. It's one of Matt's new camshafts. So we're kind of curious how that's gonna do. And it's a 6-liter with 706 heads. And it's got flat tops. So the compression is probably a little bit higher than, you know, your typical 6-liter stuff. At least Adam made it down here, and Ryan is still on the way. We are waiting to kind of hear back from him, but of course, whenever the dyno gets brought up in your subject, stuff comes up and issues arise. So he has some issue where he's got a power short with his ECU. Truck's been totally fine, and then all of a sudden he comes down here, or wants to come down here, he starts it, pulls it out of the garage, and it just shuts off. So we're waiting to hear back from him, but we're gonna get the baseline pull on this thing. I'm gonna do a pull on wastegate. We're gonna kind of see how stuff feels, see where it's at, see how the car acts on the dyno, stuff like that. And we'll check out the data and hopefully have some fun. made like 300 horsepower. That first hit, 4 pounds of boost. I didn't really go wide open. I was feeling stuff out. This thing's awesome. 470 horsepower on like 4 pounds. So that's pretty cool. Alright guys, so 4 pounds of boost on this 6 liter managed us 482 horsepower. Look how flat that power curve is. Like all the way from 7,000 to like 4 grand to 7 grand. Pretty much as soon as your foot goes to the floor, which is pretty cool. This first run I actually didn't go wide open, so all this is probably, you know, a mixture of me not going wide open and stuff like that. So we're gonna slowly turn the boost up on this thing, and we're gonna see. We know this is 4 pounds of boost, so we're gonna try like 6 or 8 pounds, and then 10 or 12 pounds, and then etc. Don't over turbo your setup. Regular ass 78, 75 putting in work here. So I wanted to get a run in between 4 pounds and 12 and a half. So this one was 4, this one was 12 and a half, and this one was 8 pounds. So you can see our power for 8 and 12. Everything looks really good. You can tell maybe a little bit once we hit 12 pounds or so that We might be slowly dipping a little bit of power where down here it was really flat. But high RPM, this little LS6 intake manifold, they don't really like high RPM. So imagine if this thing had like a little bit like a Holley high ram or something. I think this cam would really shine, but it makes a lot of average power everywhere, so that's really cool. So we're gonna play with ignition timing, and we're gonna feed it 2 degrees on the 8-pound tune-up and see what happens. So 597, I'm gonna see how much timing we were on. I think the timing's actually kind of spicy on this thing already. So 8.1 pounds, 22.7 degrees of timing. I don't know if I really want to go up from that, but let's see here, even on the hit, 21.6. Adam here has a Dominator in this car, so he has all sorts of data. Really cool stuff like the post-turbo temperature here, 180 degrees, and then at the motor temperature, 91. So that intercooler is knocking about 100 degrees of temperature out of it. Although it is a kind of a smaller intercooler. This is just like a 2.5-inch core, it looks like, maybe a 3-inch intercooler core, so it's not very large. Just regular 3-inch piping here. We do have a back pressure sensor as well for the post-turbo exhaust, so we can make sure that stuff's not going to be climbing too fast or anything like that. But we're just going to kind of do a couple more pulls, and then we might just go over all the logs afterwards. Alright guys, so I actually pulled 2 degrees of timing out of it to see how much power it would lose. The numbers that I saw on the tune kind of showed me like this thing's got a spicy tune-up in it already, so I didn't want to go up on timing because it was like 23.5 degrees or something like that, so I just pulled 2 out of it to see how much we would lose. And this is the difference here. So this little area right here is about 15 horsepower. This is both on the same amount of boost and stuff like that, but it did spin on the hit, so like it came up and made more power here, and then came down when the tire grabbed. So we're going to try this again. We're going to leave the timing pulled out of it because we only lost like 15 horsepower. If we would have lost like 40 horsepower, I'd probably put it back in, but I think it's a little safer at this timing level. So yeah, we're going to put a little more boost in it now. We're going to try for like 14, 15 pounds, somewhere in there. So we're just going to give it a little bit of duty cycle and see what happens. All right, guys, 12.5 pounds was the most boost that we made. I'm going to try to make like 14.5 or 15. See what happens. Try 20 pounds. Oh yeah. Well, let's see. So this last hit that we made 760 horsepower, and I think I can kind of start seeing the intake manifold be a little bit of an issue. You can see it can't really hold that peak power way up at the top end. It's kind of starting to nose over, and I'm kind of thinking that's intake manifold related. But 760 on 17 pounds, and on 13 pounds we made 690. So 690 to 760, and we gained 4 pounds of boost and took out 2 degrees of timing. So I bet you it would have almost made another 20 or 20-ish horsepower probably. We probably would have made 90 horsepower on going from 13 pounds to 17 pounds. So we are starting to find the weakness of the setup. It was making 25-ish horsepower per pound of boost, and now we're only making about 20 to 22, but I also pulled out timing. So we're just gonna go up from here a couple pounds and leave the timing the same. So we'll compare this 760 number at 17 to whatever it makes on whatever I put in it this time. I'm gonna try for like 20 pounds. So we'll see. Pounds of boost on that one. I wish we had a little bit bigger tire on the car, or just a little more gearing in it, because we can only run about 120 or 30 mile an hour currently, and these tires are kind of small for the gearing and whatever for this much power, because my roller at my shop is only a 24-inch drum. It's not like a big 48-inch dyno jet where we can get a lot more load on it. So usually cars that make this much power, we want to run as tall a gearing as possible. We need like 150 or 160 miles an hour to load this thing a little better, but it is making power. We did make only a pound more boost that time, so we went from 17 to 18, and we made about 20 horsepower more. So 777, should we go to the casino? 761 to 777. So about 20 horsepower. To make our 800 number, we're gonna probably need 20 pounds of boost. 20 pounds of boost, it'll do it. So let's see what we can do from here. Alright guys, so Adam's Mustang turned out pretty good, but we did run into a spot at like 18 pounds where we would give it more boost and it wouldn't really pick up any power. So I mean, we went from like 17 pounds or something right here to 18 pounds and then 18 to 21, and there's just not much gain going on here. So kind of curious, you know, what the limit was. Maybe he'll send some data logs, or maybe we can look at the logs some other time, but there is a choke point somewhere on that thing, and I don't know quite what it is. So post your guesses down in the comments what you guys think, you know, the choke point could be on that setup. So Adam's Mustang ended up turning out pretty good. 6-liter with the 7875, HunterTune.com. Had a set of Bosch 210s, HunterTune.com. And shameless plug, I guess. Awesome little car, street setup. He drives it on the street all the time. And like I said earlier in the video, ton of average power. The sloppy stage 2 and the sloppy best cam both kind of prove to make very good power for like 90% of builds. All motor, supercharged, turbocharged, etc. They seem to work great. Up to about the 18 to 20 pound mark, they seem to work great. And like I said, I was actually texting Matt and I was like, dude, this thing makes frickin' a ton of power on low boost. But the more we creeped up on the tune-up and the more boost we gave it, the more, or I should say the less power that the car made. So at like 18 pounds or so, it showed some issues of, you know, the boost kind of just running through the valve, running right through the intake valve and right out the exhaust, because the back pressure went way up and the power just didn't go up. And I had the same issue with my Fox body. One of the first motors that I put in the car was a 5.3 with a sloppy stage 2 and a 7875, and above like 18 pounds, even at the track, would not trap any higher mile per hour. And I kept cranking the boost up and cranking the boost up, and it ended up hurting a rod in the motor. And then since then I changed my cam stuff in the motor that I've been doing now for running like 1,000+ horsepower. I switched over to the Tick Stage 3 cam, which is a lot less, it makes a lot less power like in the mid-range and down low than like the sloppy Stage 2 or the best cam. But it doesn't run into the issue where this car did with, you know, the more boost you give it, the more this issue tends to arise with, I think at a certain point, just the airflow going into the motor ends up just running right through one valve and out the other, and it can't put that air into the cylinder, if that makes sense. So we don't see any power gain with more boost added to the equation. So Adam is thinking about switching the camshaft up to see if we can make more than that 790 horsepower that we ended up making on 21 pounds. Because I'd be curious if just switching the cam would be a thing that would allow us to run more boost, because I know for a fact that this car is not out of turbo. I've ran this same exact turbo with a 4.8 liter in my Fox body, and I made over 900 horsepower and went 860s in the quarter, and then the guy I sold it to went like an 840 down in Georgia. So I know the turbo is not tapped yet. I think maybe just the camshaft at a certain boost level is running into an issue where, you know, it just can't take any more into the cylinder. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and have a great night and a better tomorrow. We'll see you later.